Phil, I'm assuming that Dave's been able to communicate with the team in some way or Zoom or something. And what do you think that either he or he's passing along to Matt Hobbs communicating before the Florida game this morning?
That's a good question, Ty. Not even really sure of the situation with Dave. I know I asked the same question that everybody else did yesterday, which is, how is he? Is it the same as the day before? And that's pretty much the answer that I got. So I'm not sure what the situation will be for today's game as far as if he'll be there or not. And if I'm sure he's communicated. You're right. But here's one thing I know about Dave Van Horn is he trusts the people that he hires and never micromanages. So I think what you'll see if he's not coaching today's game is Matt handling the pitchers and Nate making the lineup card and handling the hitters. Hopefully what we do see is a team that just plays a better brand of baseball, to put it in a bit of a cheesy way, but that hasn't necessarily been what we saw 2 days ago, and certainly not the last game of the regular season. And there's a difference between losing a game and just playing poorly. And I've seen poor play in the last couple of games. And it's not just poor pitching. It's been poor play. So I'd like to just see them go out and play a good game, honestly, whether they win or lose today.
Phil, you were telling Tommy and I during the break you think it's the earliest game that you've broadcasted for the University of Arkansas. How do you think that's going to affect this team playing this early? And what do you think the delay has had on just kind of their emotional and thoughts heading in to an elimination game against the Gators today?
Well, they're dealing with the same kind of delay everybody else is. They're playing a team in Florida that's played within the last 24 hours, so you can make of that what you want. Rusted or rested, rested or rusted. That's a conversation I have with Mike Neighbors all the time. I'm not sure what kind of an effect that'll have on them, but I know they want to go out and play ball. I mean, they're ball players. They're sitting around in a hotel. Even when they've got a video game lounge put together for you in a big mall next door and all the niceties of a really nice hotel, they're ball players. They want to go out and play ball, and the best way to put bad baseball behind you is to go out and play a good game, and they know that. So I think they'll be raring to go as long as they've got as long as they know how to wake up early in the morning, which I'm sure many of them already do. Blaine Kinsley, the strength and conditioning coach for Arkansas baseball, routinely sends an early morning tweet, 5:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and he's not by himself all the time at that moment. He's working with those guys, so they get up early quite often, and I think they'll be ready to go.
Should we expect Connor Noland? Is that what you're expecting today for a Friday start?
I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be Connor Noland. Yeah, I mean, they wanted to keep him on normal rest, Tommy, last week. That's why they didn't start him Thursday and had him pitch Friday. I think they wanted to keep him in that rhythm of pitching only on Fridays, which also gets him ready to open a regional next week, also on a Friday. So, yeah, and that is one other thing that that not playing yesterday does is Evan Taylor. Brady Tigert didn't pitch the other day, but he did warm up a little bit. Taylor and Morris will be ready to go. You've got your top relievers ready, so they're at full strength as far as pitching is concerned, and certainly I wouldn't put Florida in that category, though they didn't have to go that deep in the pen yesterday against A&M.
Do you get a sense, being around the team or the administration around the team, are they fully expecting to go on the road next week, or is there still some hope internally that they could host a regional?
I don't know how they're feeling about it internally, but if you're just being honest with yourself when you look at the body of work and just the RPI number, you might be sick of talking about RPI, but I mean, you have to be honest and realistic. It's a tool that the committee uses, and yeah, I just think you have to be realistic about these kind of things. You can't fantasize about, what'll happen if we get this at home. No, I think they know they're probably going on the road, and that says a lot about what's happened in the last couple of weeks, because 2 weeks ago it felt like a foregone conclusion that you were hosting a home regional and that you were playing to be a top 8 national seed. Now, maybe you need to win this tournament in order to even host a regional, and you wouldn't even be an 8 seed at that point.
Phil Elson with us here live from Hoover, thanks to My Arkansas Scholarship Lottery. Phil, looking at the Florida Gators, you've had success against them already this season. What's the key to having success against them this morning again?
Well, I think honestly, it doesn't matter who it is that they're playing right now, Ty. What they need to do, and of course they're going to scout whoever's pitching, and they know these hitters. I'm not saying that doesn't matter, but Dave Van Horn and a lot of coaches tell me sometimes you got to focus more on yourself and on your team, especially if you're not playing well, than worrying about what your opponent does. What they need to do is to get back to what was going on for the first 9 weeks of the season, which starts with good starting pitching. Like this is a very important game, I think, in the context of Connor Noland is the elder statesman as far as the starting rotation is concerned. They desperately need a good start. I'm talking 5-6 innings, 2 or 3 runs, basic, not dominant, just good. Just be out there, give them innings, keep them in the game. They trailed too often. Scoring a little bit early and keeping the pressure on Florida instead of the pressure being on Arkansas, which is the way that hasn't it looked that way? Hasn't it looked like they've been under pressure? Because they have been. There's a lot of men on base early in games. The pressure is brought by the opponent instead of Arkansas, and usually it's the other way around. So they need to get back to doing what they've done well, not just this year when they were winning games, but really the things that have turned them into the program they've been the last 5 years.
Phil, I know you've been busy preparing for this game this morning and watching some other SEC baseball. Did you catch a glimpse of what the softball team did to Texas at all last night?
I watched that whole thing, Ty. I wasn't going to miss that. That was awesome. That really was. That was awesome. I love, talk about putting pressure on teams. They can. The little creek turns into a river, turns into an ocean, and the next thing you know, they've just swamped an opponent. I loved watching Shanice Dell's pitch. Her drop is masterful, and they are so much fun to watch and easy to root for.
Yeah.
And I learned a little something yesterday. This illegal substitution thing.
Yeah.
This that's the one thing that kind of caught me a little bit off guard. I remember hearing that you can pinch run for somebody and then bring the player back in, and that just confuses me. It's like anybody that wants to say, oh, that's just baseball on a smaller diamond. No, that's a different sport they're playing over there. It looks a little bit like baseball, but it's not baseball.
Yeah, I didn't know when they stopped the game and the home plate umpire went and then communicating by yelling from the field level up to the press box, and everyone was a bit confused. Even Beth Mullins and her crew were trying to figure out this re-entry rule and what exactly had happened. But that pointed out one of the big differences last night, Phil. But one thing that was the same was that atmosphere last night at Bogle was exactly what you were hoping to have next week at Baum.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Isn't that nice that you probably won't get this for baseball at home, but you're starting to create traditions as far as softball is concerned with playing these regionals and super regionals at home, and the atmosphere does look a little bit the same. They have they're putting their bases loaded beer hats on, and I mean they've got their own things. Softball has its own things too, but there's definitely a connection between the two programs as far as, even I think in the way that they get along, they're friends, crossing over from sport to sport. And it's exciting. I loved watching that last night. They really are. They're an addictive program, and they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sure was a lot of fun to watch. All right, I even hate to ask this next question, but what's the weather forecast like for today in Birmingham?
Sun. Yeah.
Yes.
We're actually going to have sun and blue skies, and it's not going to rain. I brought an umbrella with me on the trip, Tommy, but I'm not going to bring it to the ballpark today. Like, I'm so excited about this. I don't care. Honestly, I wouldn't care if it was just 45 degrees as long as it wasn't raining.
Right.
But it's going to be beautiful today.
Yeah. I mean, you say, well, that's a bland question, but it's been an important question this week with what's happened. What's it going to be like today?
People will say, "Oh, talk about the weather like it's small talk and everything." No, that's deep discussion in baseball. Like, this is how people learn how to get along with each other in some ways. The weather means something in this sport.
Well, because and I just think from our standpoint and your standpoint, I mean, we're trying to plan a radio station, and the weather is truly affecting how we're doing our jobs around here. And I'm just hoping there's no delays in today's game. So I love the fact that you can report sunny skies and no chance of rain, and a scheduled 9:30 first pitch will likely go off as planned.
Yeah, I could say whatever it is that you've got planned for today across our network and on our shows, you can just run with it now. Yeah. Otherwise, of course, it is baseball. We could play 18 innings. Yeah. Just saying.
Well, so the plan right now would be morning show. We're going to turn it right over to you. So we'll finish up the morning rush, hand it off to you in Birmingham, then back for some halftime till 3. Then Ruskin and Zach will carry us out till 7, and then we'll all go get crazy for Memorial Day weekend and wait to see where next week holds, what next week holds for the Razorback program. I'm sure they're a little anxious about where they're going. I think, like you said, they've come to the realization as fans and then also as a team that this is going to be a road trip. We've seen Stillwater. We've seen now Austin as a projection. I don't know if you've got a feel or anyone has a feel, but looks like Arkansas is definitely on the road next week.
Well, and it seems to me that they try to keep the 2 seeds a little bit closer to home. The 3 seeds can get sent to, more far-flung places. So Austin or Stillwater makes a lot of sense. And, you're in a position where you haven't been in a long, long time. You knew the last 3 tournaments that you were a national seed going into Selection Monday. Like, it was a foregone conclusion. Even in 2017, we really had a really good sense that they were going to host a regional, if not a super regional. So this is the first time since 2015, I think, that we've been in this position where it's like, all right, where are you sending us?
Yeah. And like you said, three weeks ago, you thought you were in that conversation, and that's how quickly things have changed now, 8-10 over the last 18 ball games.
Yeah, and I do think that if you were to point the finger at one thing that's kind of led to this is starting pitching. That's the backbone of a team. That's really what keeps you in games quite often. If you're not a team that scores 4, 5, 6 runs in the first 5, 6 innings like we've seen before, and this team this year is not that, then your starting pitching keeps you in games. And it's been shaky, and it hasn't just been 1 or 2 pitchers. It's been the entire rotation, and I think that's why you've seen lapses in the field. I think the fielders feel some pressure to do a little extra. I think hitters have felt that pressure for a while, even before starting pitching started to stagger a little bit. But that's why I'm saying, what I want to see today is because this is your Friday guy, Connor Noland. Go out and be a Friday starter. Give them a quality start.
Phil, we'll leave it there, man. Have a good call today, and we'll catch up later on halftime coming up after the game.
Okay, you got it. See you later, guys.
All right, Phil Elson with us, live from
Partners
Hoover.
at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA playoffs, fights, and even next season's futures. And don't forget that the MLB is back as well. Who are you picking to win the World Series? BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.